and except for the one you're going to be probably speaking through. Those coming before the meeting, before the board, those who will be coming before the board will be notified prior to your case being heard. And at that time, the chairperson will tell you at the point when you will be allowed to speak to represent yourself. This is going to be a little different for us in the sense that we need to make sure that we capture all of the motions made, the person making the motion, the seconding of the motion, and Alice Weeding will record each vote by roll call. Each vote will be captured by roll call, so we can be assured as to the vote. Otherwise, please mute your cell phones, mute your phones otherwise, and I guess we'll get through this process. So this is the first time we've ever done this, so you all part of history, and I think we're gonna have a great meeting today nonetheless. So with that said, Mr. Cody, your show, you can go from here.
I'll now call the dealer practices meeting to order. Alice, if you would please read the roll. I guess we're waiting for Alice to read the roll.
All right, Ron Cody,
Here.
Steve Farmer, Steve Farmer,
Hey, Garner, I think we're getting feedback from your phone. Hey, Brett.
Gardner Britt here.
all right, Michael Bohr,
Here.
Liza Borsis, Gardner Britt,
Gardner here.
Britt,
Yep, here.
Robert, all right, Robert Fisher, Rob Fisher, Matt McQueen, Chris Mayer,
Chris Mayer's here.
Jeff Malloy,
Here.
Senior Sagaffi. All right, some seniors on mute.
I'm here.
Okay, and Steve Farmer? Steve Farmer's on mute. Unmute. Right there. All right, Steve Farmer?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do we have Michael Bohr? Did he already say here?
I said here, yes. Morning.
Okay. Gardner Britt, I heard him. How about Rob Fisher? Rob Fisher? It says I'm muted.
Senior, you got it muted.
Okay, I can hear feedback.
Steve, that's coming from your phone.
Okay. All right, is Matt McQueen here? I got Jeff, I got Senior, I got Chris, I got Gardner. Let me see if we have a full form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Steve Farmer, can you put your phone on mute? Same with you, Senior Sagaffi, getting lots of feedback.
No, not yet. I see him now, but he's on mute, that's why. Okay. But yeah, we have a quorum. Okay, Ron, can you hear me?
I can, Alice.
All right, we have a quorum.
Okay, great. As you can all tell, this is going to be a very challenging morning to get through this agenda. Again, please keep your phones on mute unless you're going to speak. And at that point, please unmute yourself. We do have a quorum present. And I want to remind everybody that's attending from the public that you will be given a chance to speak relative to each case as each case comes up. After we announce the case and read the case, I will ask if there's anybody that would like to comment on that specific case. Without further ado, there's a summary in your book, and I assume that summary is approved unless I hear any objections. Also, there are updates in your book from the last meeting, and there are no items on the agenda for old business. Is there any items from the floor for old business? Hearing none, we will move to new business, and we will start with tab 1. Tab 1 is Marathon Group. Martin Onyurimba. William, if you could please read the case.
Yes, I do apologize for the background noise. You guys outside doing some landscaping work, so you might hear some loud noise periodically. First tab. Marathon Motors and Martin Onyurimba. On February 27, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1533 and 46.2-1575, numbers 1 and 2. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $750.
Is there anybody in the audience to speak to tab 1 Marathon Group? And if there is, please state your name. Hearing no one to speak on Marathon Group, Marathon Motors, I will open this up for discussion from the Dealer Practices Committee.
Ron, I'll make a motion. We accept the hearing officer's recommendation.
Okay, I'd like to make one comment, but is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. So hearing a second to that motion, I guess we'll go ahead and vote on it. Hearing officer's recommendation is a $750 civil penalty, and at this point, no inspection. All those in favor say aye. Well, we'll have to do roll call.
Aye.
We'll have to do
Aye.
roll call. No, I can't do it that way. We're going to have to do roll call. So I guess Alice will read the roll.
All right, Ron Cody,
Yes.
Steve Farmer,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Robert Fisher,
Yes.
Matt McQueen, Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Senior Sagafi.
Yes.
Okay, the ayes have it.
Okay, motion carries for a $750 civil penalty on tab 1 Marathon Group. Tab 2 is United Auto Group, Hamad Obazid.
United Auto Groups Incorporated and Hamad H. Obazid. On February 24, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Sections 46.2-1529, 46.2-1533, 46.2-1539, 46.2-1548, and 46.2-1550, and 46.2-1575, number 2. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended a satisfactory inspection within 90 days and successful completion of the 2-day dealer operator course.
Is there anybody on the conference call to speak to tab 2 United Auto Group? Hearing no one, I will offer the floor up for discussion. To orientate everybody on this one, this is where a satisfactory inspection was required in a dealer operator class. This is the gentleman who had a sign on the side of a a vehicle for which he paid a $250 fine. He was not available for the latest inspection. However, that was his first one, so there's no fine assessed to that, but a number of other violations. But that's why the hearing officer recommended no fine, just the dealer operator course and a satisfactory inspection. If there's no discussion, can I get a motion?
I move to take the hearing officer recommendation.
Okay, a motion to take the hearing officer's recommendation of dealer class and satisfactory inspection. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second. Fisher.
Did you unmute your mic?
Rob Fisher seconds it. Alice, if you could read the roll call.
Ron Cody,
I hear yes.
Farmer,
Yeah.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Brett,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Senior Sagapi.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, motion carries as recommended by the hearing officer. Tab 3, Zach's Auto Sales, Zane Cooper.
On February 26, 2020, a formal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of the code sections 46.2-1533 and 46.2-75, number 2. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing the civil penalty of $750 and a satisfactory inspection within 60 days.
Is there anybody on this conference call to speak to tab 3, Zach's Auto Sales, Zane Cooper?
Yes,
Okay, and your name, please?
Zane Cooper.
Okay, Mr. Cooper, you can go ahead and take the floor.
Okay, where do you want me to start? Would you like for me to start at reasons or?
Anything that you think is relevant to our reading of the hearing officer's case and the recommendation that's before us.
Okay, we had a lot of deaths in our family, total to 7 in that time frame. I never did receive any emails as to when they were trying to get a hold of us. Still haven't received any of those. My grandfather passed away, which lives in Alabama. My mother-in-law was also going through, she passed away after this. We had a lot of things going on. My daughter was also in Maryland. She had some health issues. We ended up having to go get her from college. Long story short, we were either dealing with family issues at the time and missed his visits, or we did not receive the emails, which we've already talked about all that in our last meeting in Richmond. I'm just trying to summarize things. A lot of things were going on at that time, but I don't want to waste anyone's time here. I'm just trying to keep it short and sweet.
So Mr. Cooper, from our perspective, the troubling thing is that 4 attempts were made to inspect your business, all of them being unsuccessful. Our policy normally is the first one's a warning, the second one's a $750 fine, the third one you're before the board, and there's already been 4 attempts. The other interesting thing or fact is that you completed the self-assessment and inspection form saying that you were aware of the requirements for the 20 hours, the posted hours, the 10 hours between 9 and 5. And again, I'm very sorry for your loss, but there were 4 attempts to inspect your business and none of them were successful.
Can we review those dates as to when they were, so I can put it in my mind as to what was going on?
Yes, we can. Again, it's not that we don't really understand the severity of what you had going on. We can't necessarily just forgive the fact that you still had a responsibility to notify somebody of your change in hours at the dealer board. And that's why you're before us. I mean, we're not, listen, any loss is significant. We understand that. But 4 attempts, normally after 4 attempts, we wouldn't even be talking about a fine. We would be talking about suspension of a license. So I can give you the dates. I'm not sure it's going to be relevant in our overall discussion on the data or the facts that are before us.
I understand. I understand that. And I see your point. There again, the only thing that I have to say back to that is I had 7 people in my family pass away.
And I'm very sorry.
So that was the reason, if I did miss him, which I'm sure I did, because, it is what it is, but that would be the reasons. And, I understand what you're saying, and I completely see exactly your point. And, I agree with you. But circumstances were bleak at the moment.
And I do understand that, and I am empathetic to that. We are treating this like you only had 2 failed inspections instead of 4 with a $750 fine. So I think the hearing officer is showing some leniency, but we'll leave that up to the rest of my committee members to ask any other questions or any discussion. Gentlemen, the floor is open.
Mr. Cooper, this is Chris Mayer.
Hello, sir.
How many cars did you sell last year?
Probably less than 60, 75, 60.
The document I show has 30 listed. Is it more than 30?
No, probably not.
I mean, 30 cars a year. Is this a part-time thing for you, or is this a full-time job?
It's full-time.
Okay. I mean, just 30 cars a year is hard to keep any business open. And that's why I'm asking if this is a part-time thing or it's just something you're doing to, take up some time. You have another full-time job, then I could understand that you're not maintaining the posted business hours.
It is a small lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think Mr. Cody said it correctly. There was 4 times that we attempted to inspect you, and they're only charging you for 2. So it'd be my vote that we, accept the hearing officer's recommendation. There's nothing real harsh in there except a couple dollars to teach your lessons to keep your doors open. So
I disagree with you on a couple of dollars. $750 is more than a couple of dollars to me. I don't know about you, but it is to me. And I also would like to say, I also would like to say this. The second time we called, or he tried to get in touch with us over email, we did not receive that email, nor did I receive any other email. Because if you say the second time, I understand what you mean, but the second time or the 4th time, we never received any emails that they were trying to come inspect us.
And I do understand that. However, that doesn't shed your responsibility to notify the dealer board if you're not going to be open during your operating hours.
I completely agree with that.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question for Mr. Cooper, Senior Sagapi. So I see on your office hours, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till 5 p.m., 5 days a week, and Saturdays by appointment. Are you comfortable with these hours? And you have as minimum of 20 hours a week, then you can change your office hours to make sure when there is inspection conducted, you are there. Have you done anything about that, or have you changed your office hours that put you in a situation? Because if they come one more time and that's going to be voted, and, of course today, they're going to give you another chance. If the inspector comes one more time and you're not there, he's going to take your license. So have you considered you're doing anything about your office hours?
Yes, we have considered that for sure. And let me understand this. You're telling me that this is the first time this has ever happened to me, and you're telling me the next step, if they show up and I'm not there, that my license will be revoked?
Okay. Well, the way, yeah, go ahead.
You would probably get some kind of written notification again, and then you would end up coming before the board on hours. But what seniors recommending is that Mr. Cooper, by law, you only have to be open 20 hours a week. You can be open more than that, but let's say you just tell the dealer board that you're only going to be open these 20 hours. Those are the 20 you're absolutely committed to, 10 of which must occur between 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. If you do that, you'll have more leniency, and we know we've got a smaller window where we're going to show up and do a random inspection. So he's just trying to provide maybe another idea for you on your behalf.
Sure, I understand that, and I appreciate that. But my question also still stands: if they show up again, will my license be revoked? I mean, am I in more steps than what I think I am? I mean, I thought this was the first time that I had anything at all to happen as far as being before any board or any kind of situation at all.
Well,
right.
From what I hear, they've been there 4 times. And haven't they been there 4 times?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I didn't understand you.
I said the inspector has been there 4 times. He's reducing the penalties to 2 times.
Right.
So you're saying he's been only 1 time, and that time, only 1 time you were closed, you weren't there?
I think Mr. Cooper's saying this is really his first offense before the board, even though it was 4 attempts to visit his location.
Right.
And I think, Mr. Cooper, you're exactly right. And I think that's why we're trying to show some leniency and just view it like it's been 2 attempts instead of 4 attempts. So again, I would just, we've had this issue come up. We've had to be very stern on operating hours because we waste a lot of time by our field staff going to locations that aren't open, and we're trying to protect the consumer to make sure they know what hours they can show up at your business and in fact have somebody represent your business. So again, that's why this is viewed as such a severe offense. And again, we're handling it like 2 attempts, and maybe take some of seniors' advice and maybe scale back your hours if you need to, at least what you tell the dealer board, and there'll be a narrow window in which we show up.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation.
I hope that helps. Any other discussion by committee members?
Yeah, just sorry, this is Mike Bohr. Just a quick comment. It sounds like you're not getting emails from the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board. They have your email address as zacsauto@aol.com. And I see you've emailed from that address. So you may want to, I mean, it sounds like, you're using that as a reason why you're surprised about the situation. May want to run a test on getting emails, making sure they're not going into your junk folder or spam or something else, because, getting email communication from the dealer board is kind of is your responsibility if they're using the correct email address, which it seems like they are.
I do get emails from them, and we talked about that at our last meeting as well. I do not understand why we did not get any of them. And my question at that time was, I don't know how the sender's email was set up, but you can also tell if somebody received or opened the email. And I mean, we had some confusion there, and I still haven't got to the bottom of that.
Okay. And Mr. Cooper, you'll be given another chance to speak before the full board meeting, which follows all the committee board meetings. So we have committee meetings, and then we follow with a full board meeting. You will be given another opportunity if you'd like to speak before the full board. Okay?
Okay. And that's today, or is that later on?
That's today, just after all these committee meetings. It's probably going to be, based on the timeline we're going on, about an hour to an hour and a half from now. But to be safe, if you wanted to go take a break, come back in, we'll still be doing our meeting and you can find out where we are on the agenda.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if I may add something real quick. So, Mr. Cooper, you need to open up your line of communication through email with DMV. So you do get their messages, and also you have the right, if you decide to close one day and something comes up, you have emergency or you have to go somewhere, you can notify DMV through the email. That way, if there is an inspection, you already notified DMV and you're not going to be on violation. So
Thank you.
probably need to read those the rules a little bit, the dealer book, and try to learn those things. But I definitely recommend to get your line of communications open with on email, DMV.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. I think we do have them open, and as far as I know, the line is open, so to speak. These other emails, I do not know what happened there. But I receive the monthlies and I receive everything else as far as I know, but thank you for that.
Well,
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Cooper? Okay, discussion, any other discussion by the committee meeting board? And if not, can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I make a motion, we accept the hearing officer's recommendation for the $750 fine.
I'll
Okay.
second.
okay, there's a motion made and a second to it, $750 civil penalty and successful inspection within 60 days, Mr. Cooper. So we will be out within next 2 months for another inspection. That is what's before the board, and we will go ahead and
Hey,
take a
Ron?
vote. Yes.
Hey, Ron, who
Yes.
seconded that?
I think Robert Fisher seconded the motion.
Correct.
Okay, sorry about that. Alice, if you would take a vote.
Ron Cody?
Aye.
Steve Farmer?
Yeah.
David Moore?
Yes.
Gardner Britt?
Yes.
Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Mayor?
Yes.
Jeff Malloy?
Yes.
Senior Sagasi? Senior Sagasi? Senior Sagasi? Okay.
hear me?
All right.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, so motion carries. And again, Mr. Cooper, you'll be given another chance to speak if you'd like before the full board meeting.
Okay. And we don't have an estimated time as to when that will be, and it will be on this same link, correct?
It will be on the same link. We are just starting tab 4. There are 14 cases that we'll hear today, roughly. So you could estimate it would at least be another hour and a half before we would get to the full board meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Tab 4, Expert Auto Outlet, Celia Canis.
Yes.
On March 4th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Sections 46.2-1528, 46.2-1529, 46.2-1533, and 46.2-1575, number 2. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $2,500 and a satisfactory inspection.
Okay, and Ms. Canis, are you on the call?
I am.
Okay, would you like to speak to this case, please?
I do. There were
believe 4 attempts to go ahead and inspect my dealership. I did state it on the conference meeting that I went to with the dealer board that those days, unfortunately, I did arrive late, one of which was the 24th of October. I had to pick up my daughter from preschool. Once I returned, Mr. Sparks was no longer there. At the 28th of October, same day, my daughter had a dentist appointment, so I had to leave 15 minutes before closing, which the closing was at 12. And on the 19th of December, there was a note stated that I was going to be closed that day, but I did arrive a few minutes later. On the 31st of January, I had to pick up my kids since they had early dismissal that day. So unfortunately, those 4 days I did arrive late. I've been trying to my best to go ahead, and be there on time. But I had babysitter problems. She couldn't, so I had to be doing all this by myself and also be at the dealership during those stated hours. Unfortunately, at that moment too, I didn't have too many cards on the lot. I've been trying to do wholesale, but that is, no excuse for me to be there those 20 hours that is recommended by the dealer board. I do want you to take in consideration of the fact that I am trying my best to be there on time. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, I have my 4 kids that I have to also take care of, and with the issues of the babysitting, I was trying to do everything on my own. I did hire someone. I went ahead and trained that person. Unfortunately, the next day he was no longer there. He didn't come in. So it's been very rough, and just trying the best that I can, so I can just just provide as much as possible.
Okay, thank you. For the committee members, the recommendation before us right now is a $500 civil penalty for records, 2 $750 civil penalties for hours of operation, and $500 for failure to comply with written warnings. A total of $2,500, if I did that right, is what's currently recommended, with the satisfactory inspection also being called for. Questions for Ms. Canis? Anybody? Discussions by the committee members?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm looking at her business hours, pretty much like Friday, Thursday, 12 to 3, Friday, 10 to 5, Saturday, 12 to 5, and Sundays, 12 to 5. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, she's not open. So a question I have is, what's the purpose? I mean, how many cars is she selling? Is she selling any cars? Why having 4 kids and be there by herself? Is there actually any business going in this location?
Yes, I do do wholesale.
And how many cars do you wholesale a month, on average?
Around 5.
So you do about total of 50, 60 wholesale cars a year.
Yes, so something around that.
And you do no retail. You have no retail customers?
No, not at the moment.
Are you planning to fix these hours, or to have someone that will be at the location going forward?
Yes, I so far I have hired a babysitter, so things are going smooth of me being there on time. So I'm just praying and hoping that it's gonna stay like that.
Is that person going to be a licensed person when you're not there?
No, I said I have hired a babysitter so they could stay with my
Oh,
kid.
babysitter. Oh, okay. I thought you said you hired, I'm sorry, hired someone to be at the dealership. Okay, no question for me.
Any other questions from the committee members? Okay, is there a motion?
I think we maybe want to discuss the amount of the penalty because of her situation. Does anybody have any suggestions?
So, Senior, if you wanted to provide some leniency, she has $750 for each of the violations of the hours of operation, which is $1,500 of the $2,500 she's being fined. She has $1,500 for not being open, $500 for not taking the additional warnings that were given to her, and another $500 for records. That's how the $2,500 comes about.
I move to accept the hearing officer's recommendation.
I'd second.
I'll second.
Okay, so Michael Board made the first motion, and it was seconded by, I heard Chris, right? Who else? I think
Fisher.
Chris Mayer.
It's Chris or Rob, either one.
Yeah, Chris Mayer seconded. So the motion is a $2,500 civil penalty, satisfactory inspection. And Alice, if you would take a vote.
Ron Cody,
Yes.
Keith Farmer,
Yeah.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Senior Sagasi.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, motion carries. Ms. Canis, you will be given an opportunity to speak again during the full board meeting following all the committee meetings as well. Tab 5, urban auto. I'm sorry, was there a question?
Yes. So I have to wait to the end of everybody to speak again?
Yes, so you have to wait until the full board meeting, which follows all of these committee meetings, and you might want to check in an hour or so and just see what kind of progress we're making.
Okay.
We have 14 cases roughly that we're going to hear today. Then we take a short break, and then we'll come back on for the full board meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tab 5, urban auto connection. Mohammed Namiga?
Yes.
Nimaga.
Okay.
Urban Auto Connection and Mohammed B. Namaga. On March 24th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Penal Code Sections 46.2-1529, 46.2-1539, and 46.2-1575, number 2. Based on information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $750 and a satisfactory inspection within 90 days.
Okay. And did I hear that Mr. Namaga is on the conference call? Did I hear somebody that wanted to speak on this tab?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Would you like to speak briefly and your name, please?
This is Mohammed Nimaga
Okay.
from Urban Auto Connection.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Well, I was actually given yeah, I want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to express this issue. When I last spoke with Miss Alice, she she asked me then, because what happened, we had some missing state inspection inside the folders when they came to do the inspection at the dealership. And later on that day, when I spoke with her, the last meeting we had, I found the 2 inspection stickers that was missing. It was a total of 5 of them. And now the 3 that was left, I was able to recover those 3. And what happened then, when some customers we sold the vehicle to them, later on, I don't know if they misplaced their sticker, the receipt for the sticker, and came back, and the people that was here, my brother, I think he gave them without making a copy of that original inspection sticker. So that's why I think one of them went missing. But we did recover all the inspection sticker that was missing. I was actually supposed to email that back to Miss Alice before the meeting today, but I was having some difficulty with my connection and everything. Yes.
So in my case summary here, it looks like that the only civil penalty that was calculated against you was due to the 5 missing inspections, 2 of which you came up with very quickly, and 3 remaining, which was the $750 civil penalty that's before us. There was no additional penalty in here for reassignments, dealer tag log, transport tag logs, none of the other issues that came up when they visited your facility. So are you asking the board to look at the fact that now you have documentation for the 3 state inspections?
Yes, that's what exactly, yes.
And that documentation will show that there were legitimate state inspections completed on these vehicles prior to them being delivered to the consumer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess the only thing we could do is, if the committee wants to do this, we could table this issue until a following meeting and give you the chance to come up with them. But honestly, you were supposed to produce them before now, so you've been given an opportunity to address this well before the hearing date.
Yes, correct. I was under the because I actually, when I requested these some of the inspection stickers that I had to call the state safety board to mail them back to me. So it took some time for me to obtain those undocumented with the COVID-19 and everything. So when I got them, finally, I was hoping when this next meeting was coming up, and I can just show you guys that because I had it, I can show you guys the day I finally received it from the state, from the state. So I've been had it, but I didn't know when to actually provide that to you. I thought that when we had a meeting, I can just finally show you guys that, hey, I got the receipt for the inspection stickers.
Discussion by committee members?
I think, Ron, based on the fact that he's telling us that he's got those inspection receipts, we should cut him a little bit of slack and allow him till the next time we get together to produce those. That's just my thoughts on it. And if he doesn't produce them then, he's wasted our time, then obviously we'll take things a little bit differently then. But I think right now we'll take him at face value and believe that he's going to produce those receipts and we'll be okay.
So you would recommend that we table this issue till the next meeting?
I think it's a good idea, yes, sir.
Okay, any other discussion by committee members?
I'd have to go along with Chris and let him produce them. There's no harm done at this point, so I would move it to the next meeting.
Okay. So you would move to table this issue as well. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. That we table this issue to the next board meeting, and as long as he produces the documentation, then we'll let it go at that point.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to table this until the next board meeting, and we have a second. Was it Mr. Fisher? Did you second it?
Yes.
Okay. Alice, if you would take a vote.
Ron Cody,
Yes.
Steve Farmer,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Bob Fisher,
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Senior Sagafi. Senior Sagafi.
Senior, you're still muted. Can you give me a thumbs up for yes, Senior? Thumbs up. Okay, that's
Okay.
a yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
it's unanimous. It's
Okay, so
unanimous.
motion carries to go ahead and table this until the next meeting. And Mr. Maga, you'll be given a chance to speak as well during the full board meeting. I would tell you, you've gotten a lot of leniency here. You've been given plenty of time to come up with these records, and we'll give you some lenience. I think we're all a little sensitive to the COVID-19 issues, but normally this would not have been tabled. But you'll be given a chance as well if you'd like to speak to the full board. Tab 7, G&G Motorcycles, Steel Horse Harley Davis, Mr. Willis or Mr. Stoneman. Tab 7.
Steel Horse Harley Davis and George B. Willis. On April 9th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Sections 46.2-1537. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $1,050.
Okay, is there someone here to speak to Steel Horse Harley Davis? Mr. Willis or Mr. Stoneman? Okay, I assume no one's in attendance to speak to this tab. So discussion by the committee members.
Hello.
Yes?
I thought it was a little harsh to penalize them for a salesman that had a valid license that just hadn't been transferred from dealership to dealership.
Okay. So there were two issues, right? There were two salespeople. One was a trainee, and they reduced the fine on that one, I think, to $50 per vehicle for the trainee. And then there was another one who was a transfer, and he reduced that to $50 per vehicle as well. So I think that's where the total of the $1,050 came from. 12 occurrences for a total of $600. Other discussion? There was one that was sold after his license expired for which there was no additional forgiveness. So it was $600, $200 for the trainee, and then $250 for the one that they sold after the license expired. Other discussion or comments? I'm sorry, somebody was saying something.
It sounded like Steve was saying something, but I don't think that these fines are unreasonable, and the folks did not show up to defend themselves. So I would accept the a recommendation of the hearing officer.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other comments? If you want my sentiment, I kind of go the way the rest of y'all went with 50. I mean, going from $250 to $50, and I mean, I think there's been a lot of leniency here. Gardner, I know you're a motorcycle dealer, so should it be less because it's a two-wheel vehicle versus four? Only a joke. But any other comments? Okay, does anyone want to make a motion?
You have it.
Yeah, I thought I did to accept the recommendation.
Okay,
I
so
don't think it's unreasonable, and they didn't show up to defend themselves, so I'd have to go along with it.
So Rob Fisher's got a motion to accept the hearing officer's recommendation of a grand total of $1050. Is there a second to that motion?
Thanks, Steve Farmer seconded.
Steve Farmer seconds it. Okay. Alice, if we can go ahead and take a vote.
Ron Cody,
Yes.
Steve Farmer,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Robert Fisher,
Yes.
Matt McQueen, not here.
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Senior Sagafi.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Motion carries for $1,050 civil penalty, and that will take us to tab 8. Tab 8 is Jayco
Mr.
LLC.
Chairman, can I just ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
Did tab 6 gets settled. Is that why we're not looking at tab 6?
That's correct.
Tab 6, yes, was settled and withdrawn.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Tab 8, great question. Tab 8 was Jayco LLC, Gearheads, Joseph, and I know I'm killing these names, but Joseph Tagliarini.
Good job.
Is there anyone, go ahead and read tab 8, William, and then we'll see if there's anyone here to speak on it.
All right, Gearheads and Joseph M. Tagliarini. On April 7th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code sections 46.2-1533 and 46.2-1575, number 2. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $750 and a satisfactory inspection within 90 days.
Is there anybody on this call to speak to Gearheads? Okay, so hearing officer's recommendation is a $750 civil penalty and a satisfactory inspection. You know, and William also, but just comment, I noticed some of these are 90 days and some say 60 days. Is it normally a default of 60 or 90?
The default is normally 90, but the hearing officer has the ability to, I guess, render what they feel is appropriate given the situation.
Okay, so this was a $750 civil penalty in 90 days. Any discussion? And if not, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
I'd make a motion to accept the hearing officer's recommendation.
Okay, Mr. Fisher has a motion to accept it. And was that Chris Mayer?
Matt McQueen seconds it.
Thank you, Matt. Second from Mr. McQueen to $750 civil penalty, successful inspection. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say we're going to do roll call. Alice?
Okay, do I understand that Matt McQueen is now in the meeting?
That is correct.
Okay, all right. Ron Cody,
Yes.
Steve Farmer,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Bob Fisher,
Yes.
Matt McQueen,
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Senior Sagafi.
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous.
Motion carries for a $750 civil penalty and satisfactory inspection. Tab 9, Imperial Motorsports, Adrian Benefield. If you would go ahead and read tab 9.
Imperial Motorsports Corporation and Adrian L. Benefield Jr. On May 14th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1529. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $250 and a satisfactory inspection within 60 days.
Is there anybody in attendance to speak to tab 9, Imperial Motorsports? Just as a refresher, this is the $250 civil penalty that was assessed due to, I think, records retention. Yes, records, payroll, W-2s, whole bunch of stuff, posting of business hours, etc. Any discussion? If not, also a motion.
I make a motion to take the hearing officer on recommendation.
Senior makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Fisher seconds it for a $250 civil penalty and a follow-up inspection within 60 days. Alice, if you would take a vote.
Ron Cody,
Yes.
Steve Farmer,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Matt McQueen,
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Yusuf Gassi.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, motion carries for a $250 civil penalty and satisfactory inspection within 60 days. That takes us to tab 10. Old Town Motors, Mr. Mueller.
Thank you. David Mueller. On May 5th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Sections 46.2-1500, 46.2-1529, 46.2-1547, and 46.2-1575, number 2. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $1,350.
Is there anyone in attendance to speak to the tab 10, Old Town Motors? Okay, just to refresh everyone's memory, this is the case that has 3 civil penalties, W-2 for licensed salespeople, $250 for proof of state inspection records, and liability insurance. The recommendation from the hearing officer was a total of $1,350 in civil penalties and a satisfactory inspection. Discussion on tab 10.
I would have to agree with the hearing officer, and I think it's probably pretty light. Hopefully this will get their attention. So I would make a motion that we accept the hearing officer's recommendation.
That was Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Senior seconds it for a $1,350 civil penalty, satisfactory inspection. Alice, if we would take a vote.
Ron Cody,
Yes?
Steve Farmer,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Matt McQueen,
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Senior Sagasi.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, motion carries for a $1,350 civil penalty, satisfactory inspection, and that will do it for the tab for today. Is there any other new business from the floor? Hearing no new business from the floor, our next meeting is scheduled for July 13th, little less than a month from now, and our meeting is adjourned.
Excuse me.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, I don't know if they mentioned my name or my company name.
No, we're getting to the next committee next now, so just hold on. That's the first
Thanks.
meeting. Mr. Slaughter, you're up.
Yes. I'd like to call the dealer license committee to order. I'd like to tell all those gentlemen and ladies that are on the agenda, you have the opportunity to speak when the item comes up. Are there any other public comments at this time?
Let's go ahead
Hey, Maurice.
and read the roll.
Maurice Slaughter,
Here.
Ted Bailey, not here. Dan Bannister,
Here.
not here. Oh, okay. Liza Borges, Gardner Britt,
Here.
David Duncan, Rob Fisher,
Here.
Randy Harris,
Here.
Senior Sagasi,
Here.
John Sullivan.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, if there's no objections to the March meeting summary, I'd like to get a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. This is Dan.
Fisher made the motion, Dan seconded it. Do we need to call for a roll call vote for that, or is that just approved?
No, you do not.
Okay, great. All right, is there any old business from the floor? Being no old business from the floor, let's go to the new business. Tab 11. Drew Sparrow. You want to read the fact finding for that, Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
Joe.
Tab 11. Drew A. Sparrow, sales applicant. On March 12, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violation of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 13. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended approving Mr. Sparrow's salesperson application requests.
All right, are there any comments from the floor?
Mr. Sparrow, is he available?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to make some comments, sir?
Not really. I think I definitely want to take the time to thank you all for the opportunity to sit in on something like this. Has been very informative for me, and I'm really just looking for an opportunity to put the things on my record behind me and move forward with the opportunity that this dealership has offered me.
Wonderful. Based upon the hearing officers wants to approve the application, is there a motion from the floor, from the members?
I would make a motion that we approve the hearing officer's recommendation. I think this gentleman deserves a chance, and Lord knows we need good people in this industry, so I make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Fisher made the motion, Donald seconded. Can we get a vote, roll call vote, Alice?
Maurice Slaughter,
Yes.
Dan Bannister,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Randy Harris,
Yes.
Senior Sagafi,
Yes.
Don Sullivan.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
So that motion carries. Tab 12.
Tab 12, Thaddeus L. Brown, sales applicant. On April 4th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violation of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 13. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended approving Mr. Brown's salesperson application request.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. How you doing today?
Wonderful. Would you like to make some comments, please?
I would just like, first of all, to say thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Me also just want to put some of this stuff back in my past and move forward in life. So that you know, I have been in the industry almost 20 years and haven't had anything dealing with dealerships at all. So just wanted to say that I do have a good record on that end. So just wish you just look over it and put this past behind me. Thank you.
No, thank you. With that being said, from the committee, do I have a motion?
I'd make another motion to accept. I think once again, we need to let folks into our industry and let them prove it out. And I do have to go again with the hearing officer because I do put a lot of credence in their recommendations. So I'd make a motion to accept.
Mr. Fisher makes the motion to accept. Do I get a second?
I'll second that.
Ms. Donald? Yes. Alice, can I have a roll call, please?
Maurice Slaughter,
Yes.
Dan Bannister,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Randy Harris,
Yes.
Senior Sagafi,
Yes.
Don Sullivan.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. You have the opportunity to speak at the full meeting. That should probably be about 45 minutes. Things look good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Any question?
Yes, you said in another 45 minutes.
You tell me, Mr. Jones.
I think we're moving pretty quickly, so I would say somewhere at least within a half an hour. We only have one more tab to go, and then another report, and then probably a small break. So to be safe, I would say no more than 30 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. Tab 13. Mr. Schultz.
Okay. Thank you,
Tab
sir.
13. Gabby Tuma, salesperson.
Nope, that's another.
I'm on the wrong one.
Yeah, your committee report's over with.
Huh?
Your committee done with. You're done.
Oh, okay. All right. If there's no more new business from the floor, any other new?
There's a tab 13, Gabby Tuma.
Yes.
That's committee.
I'm here.
That's licensing.
It's under licensing.
Okay, go ahead. My apologies. Go ahead.
He's a formal.
No, go ahead.
He's a formal.
All right, Mr. Schultz, you want to read us tab 13, please?
Yes. Historical overview leading up to the formal hearing. On October the 6th, 2019, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1574 and 46.2-1575, number 4 and 8. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $5,000 and revocation of all licenses and certificates issued to Gabby A. Tuma. At the January 13, 2020 committee and full board meetings, the board adopted a resolution to assess a civil penalty of $5,000 and revocation of all licenses and certificates issued to Gabby A. Tuma. On January 23, 2020, Mr. Tuma appealed to a formal hearing. On February 26, 2020, a formal hearing was conducted to address the above alleged violations. Based on the information provided at the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $5,000 and revocation of all licenses and certificates issued to Gabby A. Tuma.
Gabby Tuma, can you hear me?
Sorry.
Would you like to make some comments, please?
Yeah. But we started the business, I believe, 2015 or 16, and I was absentee owner for almost the whole 3 years we operated there. It was my brother there, and I was doing export like 12 years ago until now. So my brother suggested to do some retail, and he was doing he was running the business over there. And if you ask your inspectors, the dealer board inspectors, they know that I've never been there. I've never done any deals or dealt with any customer, even though I had also the dealer operator license. So I was most of the times in auctions, and you can check with the auctions. I was checking in every day there, staying till afternoon. So they did, they mess up the business over there. I didn't know until late days in 2017. So, and I don't know, I'm trying to get back, to stand up again, to do some business, because everything was, export was slow, everything was getting bad. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So they did all the mess. And because I was only the owner, but I was absent most of the time. So I'm taking the responsibility now. But I'm not sure why they are revoking my licenses, even though I didn't misuse any of them.
Well, you had a meeting on January 13th for the committee met and they adopted the resolution. Then you had a following meeting, January 23rd, where you appealed. And then on February 26th, they conducted and addressed the allegations again. So what has changed to make you think that the board would want to change their findings?
I'm sorry, to change the decision?
Yes.
I knew about the meeting, but I missed it. I had something urgent, and then I forgot. I apologize about that. But now I need to know what to do, because I'm taking the responsibility of some things I didn't do just because I was owner. And I can get you all the proof that I didn't do any business. I wasn't involved in any of the operation in the business, in the dealership. So I'm not sure what to do, and I need to start doing something for, any business to get back to and try to pay. And also I have a lawsuit. It's still going on since 2016, and just. But if I misused any of the dealer board licenses, just let me know how did I misuse it.
In the previous meeting with the hearing officer, wasn't that explained to you?
Your voice is cutting off. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Your previous meeting with the hearing officer, wasn't that explained to you why they were taking those recommendations?
They were reading for me all the customers that they were hurt from the dealership.
I mean, if you were, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I understand that, ma'am. Some customers, they were treated the wrong way, but it wasn't me. It was I guess my brother. He was running the business there, and couple of managers there. So they and I've never been told of the problems over there until late month when we had lawsuits and some notification from dealer board.
Well, you appealed it, so you must have appealed it based upon the information from your hearing office. So you must have been aware of the concerns. And your license is in your name, correct?
The dealer license, I mean operator license, yeah, my name.
So that means you're responsible.
But as I told you, other people, they were doing the wrongdoing over there. And I have all the proof, and you can ask the inspectors of the dealer board. Jason, I believe, and the other inspectors, they used to go there and they used to deal with Joe and Zach. They never dealt with me. I was all the days in the auctions, and you can check with the auctions that I was checking every day, every weekdays in auctions. That's all I can tell you. And also I have good reputation in the auctions. Also, you can check that over there. I've never sold a car for a retail person.
Mr. Tuma, what
Yeah.
is your status of this dealings with the customers? Do you have and lawsuits? Do you have any judgments against you? Because I see a
Yes.
bunch of complaints here.
Yeah, because they sold some cars over there. When I came to the hearing, Mrs. I think her name Brenda, in the hearing, they read for me all the customers that they had complained, and but I didn't know any of them, and I didn't sign any paper over there. I didn't sell any car to any of those customers. It was all the time Joe and Zach and TJ that they were running the business there. And I didn't know until the last month of the operation about those lawsuits and problems, but I couldn't do anything. So I'm taking all the responsibility now because I was owner of the dealership. Just
Mr. Tuma, Don Sullivan here. So,
Yeah.
your brother and whoever else works, are they still employed with you? Are they still running the business?
No, we closed the business in 2017 after all the loss and the problems that happened. And I paid lawyers until now. I paid over 100,000 to my lawyer, trying to defend all those cases.
So you're not in business right now?
No, I'm just doing export. I go to auctions, try to do some export to just for living. And business is very slow since last year. So I'm trying to do some retail in any, but I'm afraid to do anything because I don't know what's going to happen with my licenses.
Mr. Tuma, how do you go to auction without a license?
I buy for export, so I don't need. But I don't sell. I don't need the what is it, salesman license, because I'm not selling retail.
Are you purchasing these cars under somebody else's name from auction?
No, my company, export company. I'm not selling here, so I don't need any license to sell here. But I can go buy for export.
I don't know. May have to check on that.
He's still in business. I mean, he still has a license because that's what we're talking about, whether to revoke his license. So he's in business. He's able to go to the auction to purchase vehicles. But who's at the dealership now to maintain your hours?
Dealership that I'm with?
But we're talking about the dealership that you own right now.
Well, I have an export company, you know, but if you have export company, you can go to auction and buy.
I understand. I
Yeah.
think we're confused here about a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not real clear if you understand.
Mr. Toma, this is Chris Mayer.
Yeah, hi.
Can you answer a question? What is the name of the export company you have right now?
It's I have Autobel LLC, and I have another one. It's called NRG, but most of them are like wholesale or export.
Out of what state?
Autobel is in Maryland, and the other one is overseas in Lebanon, but it's registered in Loudoun County in Virginia.
Mr. Tuma, I showed that there was a claim made against the Motor Vehicle Transaction Recovery Fund back in 2019 for $9,235.51. Have you rectified that or paid that yet?
No, I couldn't pay it. This was from GN, from the company in 2016 or 17.
Let me comment on that. I appreciate that. I didn't think that was paid. Mr. Toma, I've been self-employed 30 years, and everything you've told me right now about not taking responsibility for a company that you own concerns me greatly. You know, the fact that you owned it and you didn't know what was going on is even more dangerous. That's like driving a car and closing your eyes. So I don't have a lot of patience for what you're telling me right now, Mr. Toma. And it would be my vote that we follow the hearing officer's recommendation here, because I think this guy's dangerous. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, you want me to answer?
Yeah. No, sir, I'm not really looking for an answer, no.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Hey, Maurice.
No.
Yes.
Chris is not on this committee, just FYI.
I was just making a statement. I understand I'm not on the committee.
Okay, thank you.
All right, based upon information provided in the hearings office recommendation, penalty of $5,000 and revoking all your license. Can I get a motion committee?
I'll make a motion that we accept the hearing officer's recommendation. And I tell you, Mr. Tuma, you know, you want it both ways, and you're not taking responsibility. On one hand, you say, yes, I will. And on the other hand, you say, well, it's everybody else's fault. So you know, you really got to get some things together here. So I make a motion that we accept the hearing officer's recommendation.
Mr. Fisher makes a motion to second.
I'll second that.
Donald seconds it. And we get a roll call vote, Alice, please.
Maurice Slaughter?
Yes.
Ann Bannister?
Yes.
Garner Britt?
Yes.
Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Randy Harris?
Yes.
Senior Sagafi?
Yes.
Don Sullivan?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Motion passed. Mr. Tuma, you'll have an opportunity to speak in front of the full board in probably about 30 minutes, if you choose to. All right, is there any other business on the floor? If there's no new business, I'd like to conclude this meeting. Our next meeting for the licensing committee is scheduled for July 13th. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Cody?
In Mr. Duncan's absence, I would like to call the advertising committee meeting to order. Alice, if you would please read the roll.
David Duncan? Ted Bailey? Dan Bannister?
Here.
Michael Bohr?
Here.
Borsius, Randy Harris,
Here.
Ron Cody,
Here.
Jeff Malloy,
Here.
Matt McQueen,
Here.
Maurice Slaughter,
Here.
Don Sullivan.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. I would like to also announce that public comment will be taking for each agenda item as they come up. We actually have one on the order of business today. A summary is in your book from the last meeting. I will assume that there's no objections. That summary is approved. You also have updates from the last board meeting in your notebook. And I do not see any items under old business. Is there any old business from the floor? Hearing no old business from the floor, that takes us to tab 14, Jason D. Adams, ABC Diesel. William, if you would please read tab 14.
Yes, Mr. Cody. On February 24th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 7. Based on the information provided at the conference, here recommended
We're getting feedback from somebody. Okay, William, did you finish reading it?
Yes, but I'll read it again if it helps.
Just real quick, if you would, please.
No problem. On February 24th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 7. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $250.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience to speak to tab 14, Jason D. Adams, ABC Diesel? Okay, hearing no one to speak on this topic, I will leave this one open for discussion. This case is the fine of $250 civil penalty for a Craigslist posting using a company logo, as I remember, and I think they dropped a reinstatement fee on a suspension, temporary suspension, or temporary hold on a dealer license as they were moving locations or some other issue. But basically, it was a $250 civil penalty for Craigslist. I think I've got that one right. Discussion?
I'll make a motion. We accept the hearing officer's recommendation.
Who's that, Matt?
Don Sullivan.
Don Sullivan makes a motion to accept the hearing officer's recommendation of $250 civil penalty. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There was a bunch of people. I heard Chris, I heard Maurice. Chris, did you second it?
I'm not on that committee, sir.
Okay, Maurice?
Yes.
Okay, Maurice Slaughter seconds it. It's $250 civil penalty, which is the hearing officer's recommendation. No one is in attendance to speak on this item. So Alice, if we would, let's take a vote.
Dan Bannister,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Randy Harris,
Yes.
Ron Cody,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy,
Yes.
Matt McQueen,
Yes.
Maurice Slaughter,
Yes.
Don Sullivan.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, motion carries for a $250 civil penalty. That is it as far as new business from the book. That's tab 14. Is there any other new business from the floor? Hearing none, our next meeting is scheduled for July 13th, 2020, and this meeting is adjourned. I'm handing the baton to Transaction Recovery.
And Transaction Recovery has the baton, sir. Alice, would you call the roll, please?
Chris Mayer,
Here.
Jeff Malloy,
Here.
Ann Bannister,
Here.
Michael Bohr,
Here.
Steve Farmer,
Here.
Rob Fisher,
Here.
Randy Harris,
Here.
Ron Cody,
Here.
Matt McQueen,
Here.
Maurice Slaughter, Maurice, is Mike
Mute.
mute?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Don Sullivan.
Here.
All right, you got a full quorum.
All right, thank you, Alice. I don't believe there have been any public comments, but if there is, they're limited to the topics that are listed on this agenda. If no one disagrees, I move that we approve the March 9th, 2020 meeting summary. Is there any old business from the floor? Under new business, we have no new business at this time, thank God. And our next meeting will be July 13th, 2020. And unless anybody else has anything, that would adjourn the transaction recovery meeting, Mr. Chairman.
William, I think that's it for the committee meetings.
Thank you. Mr. Holcomb. It's going to take me about 15 minutes to get the resolutions together. So being 10:35 now, I would say about 10:50, we'll be ready to resume the full board meeting. So I can get the resolutions together. So right
Okay.
now, 15 minutes. Thank you.
Mr. Childress, question.
Yes.
Next meeting, I don't know what phase we're going to be in. Do you think it's going to be the same on Zoom conference, or we're going to be at Richmond?
We'll be prepared either way, Senor. Mr. Scott, we'll be prepared either way. We don't know what phase, but we'll be prepared to do it either this way or in person if it allows. But we'll let you know once we find out.
Okay, which is fairly short time, July 13th. Right. Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, so we'll see you guys back here in 15 minutes, right?
Yes, 10:50.
William, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I still have two resolutions, two more to put up, and I'll be ready to go.
Okay, is anybody, okay, we'll go ahead and start the full board meeting and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ted Bailey, Dan Bannister,
Here.
Michael Bohr,
Here.
Borsius, Gardner Britt,
Here.
David Duncan, Steve Farmer,
Here.
Rob Fisher,
Here.
Randy Harris,
Here.
Ron Cody,
He's
All
on
right,
mute.
I'll come back to him.
Ron.
Okay, I'll come back. Chris Mayer,
Here.
Jeff Malloy,
Here.
Matt McQueen,
Here.
Senior Sagafi,
Here.
Maurice Slaughter,
Here.
John Sullivan,
Here.
Rick Holcomb,
Here.
Hey,
Ron Cody, you there? Okay, I got you, Ron. All right, we got a full quorum. I mean a quorum.
Ron, I'm having audio problems. Can I turn this over to you?
Oh, sure. Okay. Welcome to the dealer board meeting. We just finished roll call, so I assume everybody saw the minutes from the last meeting, and I will assume that they're approved unless I hear otherwise. I want to remind everybody who is in attendance that you'll be given an opportunity to speak when each of your agenda items come up. Updates from the last board meeting are in your notebook as well. Old business, I do not see any old business from the floor. That will take us to new business. New business, tab 1. William, I assume you can hear me.
I can hear you, yes.
Well, before I go to new business, I'm the chair of the Dealer Practices Board, so I should say that we met this morning. A quorum was present. The committee approved several motions for today, and we also approved the summary from the last meeting. The first resolution we have for today of the 9 resolutions is tab 1, Marathon Motors and Martin Onyarimba.
Yes. Marathon Motors and Martin Onyarimba. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Marathon Motors and Martin Onyarimba, for alleged violations of Virginia Code Sections 46.2-1533 and 46.2-1575, numbers 1 and 2. And whereas, based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Marathon Motors and Martin Oyorimba. 1, assess a civil penalty of $750. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Martin Oyorimba hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $750.
And that is the resolution. And there was nobody from Marathon, the Marathon group, in attendance. Is there anybody in attendance now to speak to the Marathon group? Okay. One comment I wanted to make, and I did not make it in committee, is I actually think this fine of $750, the civil penalty, is a little light. I think the civil penalty should be $1,000. And the reason I say that, should be a minimum of $750 for not being open on what actually became the third occurrence, and plus the $250 for not adhering to the prior warning letters. This would be an increase of $250 of what was originally approved in committee. So it would take it to a civil penalty of $1,000 as opposed to $750. And I just wanted to make that comment to everybody before we vote on the resolution.
Ron, I'll back you up on that and vote to increase the fine to $1,000.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve my idea of a fine of $1,000. Can I get a second to that one?
Second.
Who was that?
Maurice.
Maurice seconds it. Again, there's nobody in attendance to speak on this. If we could go ahead, Alice, and take a vote.
Okay, Dan Bannister,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes.
Steve Farmer,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Randy Harris,
Yes.
Ron Cody,
Yes.
Chris Mayer,
Yes.
Jeff Malloy, Jeff Malloy, Matt McQueen,
Yes.
Senior Sagafi,
Yes.
Maurice Slaughter,
Yes.
Don Sullivan,
Yes.
Rick Holcomb.
Yes.
All right, can I go back to Jeff Malloy? Is he there? Right there. He's muted.
We'll show him
In
abstaining.
the middle.
Show him-
JM. Right
show
there.
him-
JM in the middle, down. Right there. Jeff? Yeah, he can't be unmuted from our end.
Okay. Okay. Well, we have a majority, right?
So, yes, there is a majority.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I just spoke with Jeff Malloy. He's having computer problems. He'll be back online just momentarily.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'll leave it blank until he comes back.
Okay.
Now, are we saying that Chris made that motion instead of you, Ron?
Yes.
Amended motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Commissioner, are you prepared to take over?
Can you hear me now, Ron?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, let me, I'm having issues as well, so let me, if there's a dead silence, Ron, I'll ask you to just hop back in. Okay, so the next matter, Mr. Chairman, is tab 2.
Yes, sir. Tab 2, United Auto Group. William?
Yes. I'm getting there. Tab 2. Okay. United Auto Groups and Hamad H. Abuzi. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning United Auto Groups and Hamad Abuzi for alleged violations of Virginia Code sections 46.2-1529, 46.2-1533, 46.2-1539, 46.2-1548, 46.2-1550, and 46.2-1575, number 2. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against United Auto Groups and Hamed Abuzi. 1. United Auto Groups shall be inspected by a Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative by September the 15th, 2020, and that inspection shall be satisfactory. And 2, Hamad Abuzi shall successfully complete the dealer operator course by December 15th, 2020. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that the United Auto Group's dealership shall satisfactorily pass an inspection conducted by a Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative on or before September the 15th, 2020, and Hamad Abuzi shall successfully complete the dealer operator course by December the 15th, 2020. Therefore, be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandates by the required dates will result in the suspension of all licenses, certificates issued by the board until such time the United Auto Group's dealership and Hamad Abuzi successfully complies with the board's mandates.
And Mr. Chairman, is that your
It is, Commissioner, and we did not
motion?
We did not have anybody in attendance this morning.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
And just for the clerk, identify yourself when you make a motion or when you second it.
This is Chris Mayer. I second the motion.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Discussion? Okay, all in favor, we'll say aye as the roll is called. Madam Clerk?
Okay. Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagapi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Got it. Unanimous.
Looks like the vote is unanimous, so the motion carries. Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 3, Mr. Chairman.
Tab 3, Zach's Auto Sales, and Mr. Cooper was in attendance.
Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Zach's Auto Sales and Zane Cooper for alleged violations of Virginia Code sections 46.2-1533 and 46.2-1575, number 2. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Zach's Auto Sales and Zane Cooper. 1, assess a civil penalty of $750, and 2, Zach's Auto Sales shall be inspected by Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative by August 15th, 2020, and that inspection shall be satisfactory. Now, resolved that the board mandates that Zane Cooper hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $750, and Zach's Auto Sales dealership shall satisfactorily pass an inspection conducted by a Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative on or before August 15th, 2020. Therefore, be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandates by the required dates will result in the suspension of all licenses, certificates issued by the board until such time the Zack's Auto Sales Dealership and Zane Cooper successfully complies with the board's mandates.
Commissioner, that is our resolution.
And is there a second?
Second, Senior Sagapi.
Okay. And Mr. Cooper, I know that you presented to the committee. You're certainly free to add anything here to the full board.
Thanks, sir. I just there again say that we had 7 deaths in our family, and I did not receive the emails that were sent out in order to see what was going on at the time and give my attention to it.
Okay. Are there further comments or questions for Mr. Cooper?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, Mr. Cooper, thank you. Comments by the board? Questions? Okay, you have a motion that's been properly made and seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Yes.
Michael Bohr,
Yes.
Gardner Britt,
Yes. Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Yeah.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagapi,
Aye.
Maury Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Yes.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, the motion has been unanimously approved. Mr. Chairman, next matter, tab 4.
Tab 4 Expert Auto Outlet, and Ms. Canis was available this morning.
Whereas Expert Auto Outlet, LLC, and Celia E. Canis. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Expert Auto Outlet and Celia Canis for alleged violations of Virginia Code Sections 46.2-1528, 46.2-1529, 46.2-1533, 46.2-1575, numbers 2. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Expert Auto Outlet and Celia Canis. 1, assess a civil penalty of $2,500, and 2, Expert Auto Outlet shall be inspected by a motor vehicle dealer board field representative by September the 15th, 2020, and that inspection shall be satisfactory. And now therefore be it resolved that the board mandates that Celia Canis hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $2,500, and the Expert Auto Outlet dealership shall satisfactorily pass an inspection conducted by a motor vehicle dealer board field representative on or before September the 15th, 2020. Therefore, be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandates by the required dates will result in the suspension of all licenses, certificates issued by the board until such time the Expert Auto Outlet dealership and Celia Canis successfully complies with the board's mandates.
And Mr. Chairman, that is your motion.
It is, Commissioner.
Is there a second?
I second. Is she here?
She was here during the board meeting, and we'll recognize her. So that was Ms.
Senior
Senior making the motion. So, Ms. Candace, you were here during the board meeting. During the committee meeting, anything that you'd like to add to the full board?
As I mentioned it this morning, when we spoke in regards to it on those 4 dates that I was not there, I was, dealing with dentist appointments, picking up my kids. So I was there those 4 days without issues, just I was late. So unfortunately, I, missed Mr. Sparks during those 4 attempts. I do want you to, like I said, consider the fact that I've been trying to go ahead and juggle around, being a mom and also a business owner at the same time. And also there's, all those fees, which is $2,500 that you mentioned. I want to go ahead and see if you guys could just help me out on that due to the virus and everything going on at this moment.
Okay, any questions of Ms. Candace?
The fine is 2,500.
Any comments by the board members?
The fine is 2,500.
Yes.
Wayne, can you answer that?
Yes, it is 2,500.
We reduce it. I suggest to reduce it to 1,500 because of her situation with the family and 4 kids.
Okay, that's a motion to amend to reduce the fine to 1,500. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, and was that Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Okay, you have an amended motion that was made and properly seconded. Is there discussion?
Yes, I'd like to, Cecilia, do you understand that you have the opportunity to contact the dealer board when you're not going to be there for any kind of emergency situations that may arise in the future? That being an option always, probably should never happen again in emergency situations that may come up.
Right.
Are you clear on that?
I am clear on that. I will definitely have the number saved, in just any, if I'm having any emergencies or any situation, I'll definitely give them a call and notify them of what's going on so that could be stated with them.
Okay, further discussion on the motion to amend. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Nay.
Norman Britt,
Nay.
Steve Farmer,
Nay.
Rob Fisher,
Nay.
Randy Harris,
Nay.
Ron Cody,
Nay.
Chris Mayer,
Nay.
Jeff Malloy,
Nay.
Matt McQueen,
Nay.
Senior Sagafi,
I guess I'm yes.
Corey Slaughter,
Nay.
Don Sullivan,
Yes.
Rick Holcomb.
Nay.
Okay, motion fails.
Motion fails 11-3. Maybe a question for our council. Can we just reverse the vote or do we need to, has failed, can we just reverse the vote for the original motion or should we call roll on the original motion? you're muted. I see your lips moving. Okay, let's just call the roll. I see council talking. Okay, yes, please recall the roll. This is under the original motion of the 2,500 penalty.
All right, Dan Bannister,
Nay.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher, Rob Fisher,
He's muted.
Aye, sorry.
Okay. Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagapi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman, tab 5.
Tab 5, Urban Auto Connection, Mr. Namaga, and he was in attendance.
Now, tab 5 was tabled by the group, was recommended to be tabled to the next meeting. Give the customer an opportunity to produce some documents that he said he successfully acquired, I guess, during the pandemic time period here. That was tabled.
And Mr. Chairman, did you take a vote on the tabling? Okay, then we will take a vote on tabling this matter till next meeting to give him an opportunity to present evidence that the safety inspections were in fact conducted. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on. And I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, that is your motion, the motion to table.
It is, Commissioner, and Mr. Namaga was here.
Okay, let me take a second on the motion to table.
Matt McQueen, second.
Okay, Matt McQueen seconds. Mr. Namaga, we're moving this matter until the next meeting to give you an opportunity to present evidence that the inspections were done. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we vote on the matter? Okay, hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Robert Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagapi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous.
Okay, the motion to table carries. Next matter, tab 6, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner, tab 6 was withdrawn from the agenda. Tab 7 is G&G Motorcycles, Steel Horse Harley Davidson, Mr. Willis and Mr. Stoneman. If you would read the resolution.
Steel Horse Harley Davis and George B. Willis. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Steel Horse Harley Davis and George Willis for alleged violation of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1537. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Steel Horse Harley Davis and George Willis. 1, assess a civil penalty of $1,050. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that George Willis hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $1,050.
And Mr. Chairman, that is your motion?
It is, Commissioner, and no one was here this morning to speak to this tab.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Mr. Chairman, before you go on, I think he is available. I got word in intermission that he was on the phone, but just couldn't be heard. So I don't know if he can.
Okay, let me take a second to the motion, then we'll hear from the individuals. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Sagafi, second.
Okay, Senior Sagafi seconds. Okay, is there anyone from the dealership on the line?
Hold on.
Yes, he's coming. He's coming. Hang on.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Anything you'd like to present to the board on this matter?
Well, one of the committee members had suggested that I not be penalized for the 12 sales of the salesperson whose license was not transferred. We had filed the application for transfer, somehow lost in the mail. We provided a copy of that application, and I would just like you to reconsider that former member's suggestion that I not be penalized for those 12 sales.
Okay, are there questions or comments of the gentleman?
I mean, the only thing I have to comment about, Mr. Chairman, is I can tell you in the last 60 days, I've had probably 4 pieces of mail that were either mailed by me to somebody else or that were mailed to me from somebody else. And some of them took as long as 3 weeks to get here. And I don't know what's going on at the post office or whatever it may be, or what the time frame was here. I think we should consider the fact if he says he sent them that he did send them. I don't see any reason not to believe him on that. What does that do to our numbers if those 12 sales there were not part of the equation? William, what are the other charges?
They're reduced to about $600.
Okay, well then, yeah, that's what I think we should consider. Is giving him the benefit of the doubt that he mailed in the salesperson's license, like he said he did, and give him a credit for that, and then move forward with the balance.
Okay, so Chris, is that are you making a motion to amend the original motion to reduce by 600?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that is my motion.
Okay, is there a second to?
I would second that. I would second that, and I agree with Chris. And, you know, if it's an oversight, and we can understand that in this day and age and this time, so I'll second.
Okay. Is there discussion on the amended motion?
Okay, excuse me. This is Alice speaking. Can you clarify the amended motion, please?
Okay, Chris, can you clarify the motion?
Yes, the amended motion would be that we do not charge him for the 12 sales that happened after he mailed in the sales license for transfer. And based on what Mr. Childress said, it would be a reduction of $650.
No, 600.
From the original fine. 600?
The civil fine would be $450.
The new fine would be $450, correct? So that is my motion.
Okay, Madam Clerk, and it was seconded by Mr. Fisher, I believe.
Yes, I've got it. Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, discussion?
Just,
Okay, Madam,
just
I'm sorry, Ron?
just for the record, most of this took place at the end of 2019. And in fact, the charges are the additional 250 is then this person's sales license actually expired and he sold a vehicle after that. So this was not a 2020 issue originally, it was a 2019 issue.
Any further comments or questions? And
Is the
Madam Clerk,
gentleman still
please
on the
call the
line?
roll on.
I'm just asking, is the gentleman still
on the line?
Yes, yes, sir.
Do you have anything to say to Mr. Cody along those lines? You know, I tend to go along with you, but if you can give us a little timeline there, that'd be helpful.
Well, you know, it's not the first time we've had a problem with mailing things to the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board. We've had to call and end up faxing, you know, applications. So I'm not sure what's going on with the post office, but I don't think it's a recent occurrence.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, further comments or questions?
Yeah, Randy Harris. I did have a question. So why didn't you follow up with the dealer board when you did not get a license back?
Well, because my office manager dropped the ball. She didn't follow up when the check never cleared and we didn't receive the license.
Okay, so that's something that you've delegated to your office manager as her responsibility to make sure everyone's licensed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, further questions or discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amended motion.
Dan Bannister,
Nay.
Michael Bohr,
Nay.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Nay.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Nay.
Ron Cody,
Nay.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Nay.
Matt McQueen,
Nay.
Senior Sagafi,
Nay.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Nay.
Motion failed.
Okay, as we did on the earlier, the amended motion has failed, so the vote now goes to the original motion. All in favor say aye, opposed nay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
All right, that was unanimous.
Okay, the motion carries. Before we go to the next tab, I've gotten a couple of questions. Once you have presented your case at the board and the board has taken a vote, you are free to drop off the line. I had a couple of questions come up on that. Mr. Chairman, we're now up to tab 8, I believe.
We are, Commissioner. Gearheads, Joseph Tagliarini, and William, if you could read the resolution.
Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Gearheads and Joseph Tagliarini for alleged violations of Virginia Code sections 46.2-1533 and 46.2-1575, number 2. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Gearheads and Joseph Tagliarini. 1, assess a civil penalty of $750. And 2, Gearheads shall be inspected by a motor vehicle dealer board field representative by September the 15th, 2020, and that inspection shall be satisfactory. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Joseph Tagliarini hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $750, and the Gearheads dealership shall satisfactorily pass an inspection conducted by a motor vehicle dealer board field representative on or before September the 15th, 2020. Therefore, be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandates by the required dates will result in the suspension of all licenses and certificates issued by the board until such time the Gearheads dealership and Joseph Tagliarini successfully complies with the board's mandates.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, is that your motion?
It is, Commissioner.
Is there a second?
Senior Sagapi, second. I'm not sure if he's here.
They
Thank
were
you,
not
sir.
here this morning.
Okay, we'll see if anyone is here.
For
Apparently
Gearheads.
still not here.
Okay.
Questions or comments? Call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer, Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher.
Aye.
Thank you. Rob Fisher, aye. Okay, thank you. Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman, next matter, tab 9.
Tab 9, Imperial Auto Motorsports Corporation, Adrian Benefield. William, if you could read the resolution.
Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Imperial Motorsports and Adrian Benefield Jr. for alleged violations of Virginia Code section 46.2-1529, and whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Imperial Motorsports and Adrian Benefield Jr. 1. Assess a civil penalty of $250. And 2. Imperial Motorsports shall be inspected by Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative by August 15, 2020, and that inspection shall be satisfactory. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Adrian Benefield Jr. hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $250, and the Imperial Motorsports dealership shall satisfactorily pass an inspection conducted by a Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative on or before August 15, 2020. Therefore, be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandate by the required date will result in the suspension of all licenses and certificates issued by the board until such time the Imperial Motorsports dealership and Adrian Benefield Jr. successfully complies with the board's mandates.
Mr. Chairman, that is your motion?
It is, Commissioner.
Okay, is there a second?
Senior Gaff, a second.
Thank you, Senor. Second. Mr. Chairman, was there anyone from the dealership on the on the call earlier today?
There was not.
Okay. Further discussion? Madam Chair, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagapi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Donald Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman, final matter, tab 8 for you. Tab 10, I'm sorry.
Tab 10, Old Town Motors, Mr. Mueller. William, if you could read the resolution.
Old Town Motors Incorporated and William David Mueller. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Old Town Motors and William Mueller for alleged violations of Virginia Code sections 46.2-1500, 46.2-1529, 46.2-1547, and 46.2-1575, number 2. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Old Town Motors and William Mueller. 1. Assess a civil penalty of $1,350. 2. Old Town Motors dealership shall be inspected by a Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative by September 15, 2020. That inspection shall be satisfactory. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that William Mueller hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $1,350, and the Old Town Motors dealership shall satisfactorily pass an inspection conducted by a Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative on or before September 15, 2020. Therefore, be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandate by the required date will result in the suspension of all licenses and certificates issued by the board until such time the Old Town Motors dealership and William Mueller successfully complies with the board's mandates.
That is our resolution, Commissioner.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Chris Mayer.
Okay, it was Chris Mayer. Thank you, Chris. Discussion, Mr. Chairman, was Mr. Mueller on the call earlier?
No, sir.
I think he's available
Okay,
now.
okay, Mr. Mueller, are you on the phone? Okay, William, we're not hearing from him.
Okay.
One more call, Mr. Mueller, are you on the phone? Still not hearing from him, William. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Moore,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Chris Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
John Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Okay, Rick, we have Mr. Mueller on the phone. Is he connected in, John?
He said he's talking, but he can't hear.
I
don't know which one of the callers he is.
Is he calling in on a landline?
Are you calling in on a landline? All right.
I guess unmute them all. You can't unmute him. He is dialed in. He just can't talk. Can you put him on speakerphone here?
Yeah, I can put it. Yeah, I can do that. So we're gonna. Yeah.
Can he hear the board members?
Yeah. Can you hear them when they talk? Okay, I'm gonna put you on speaker.
Put it right next to the speaker.
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
All right.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Mueller.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Committee, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William David Mueller. I'm with Old Town Motors in Petersburg, Virginia. And I was on your call earlier today, but I guess you guys could not hear me. But what I'm doing is, being I missed a call, I'm asking for a continuance in this case against Old Town Motors Incorporated. I'd like to address the committee members in person regarding issues, funds, sales, people, and dealer insurance. I believe there's still some confusing information out there that needs to be cleared up. And, before my reputation, I've been in the car business for some 35 years. I take great pride in what I do. And before my reputation and integrity and dealership name are tarnished by this committee, I'm requesting for a fair trial, and I'd like to be heard in person by this committee. Hopefully this governor, our great governor, is going to open things back up again so we can make this happen earlier than later.
Questions of Mr. Mueller?
Can you hear me?
Is there a reason we can't hear from you now?
Well, right now I'm in the middle of an auction. I put that I've muted. I'm in a CarMax auction right now, but I guess this is more important. But I prefer to be heard in person. I'd greatly appreciate that. So you know who you're dealing with and what type of guy I am, who I am.
Questions of Mr. Mueller? Comments?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I'm asking for the board, if the board has any questions of you, Mr. Mueller, or comments on your request.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Thank you.
Mr. Mueller, you realize that, it seems to me this fine was pretty lenient with the issues of everything considered, especially the W-2 situation, which, that fine is probably pretty small compared to the kind of fines that we're charging people for not being open when dealer agents come by to inspect them. You may want to reconsider, but that's up to you. I mean, I guess up to the board.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing what you're saying. It's blurred. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, you may want to consider, carrying this forward to another time. I feel that the fines here are very lenient compared to the different infractions that you have. So you may want to consider that.
I do appreciate that.
And the W-2 issue is a very, should be, or I mean, the state actually loses a lot more money than someone not being open for business by not reporting salespeople on W-2s. So
yes, sir.
You may want to consider that, take in consideration that moving forward, your fines might be raised if it needs to be heard again.
I
So William, just a comment and a question. If these fines were computed the normal way, they'd be $4,950 versus $1,350. And we've already voted on this. He can always appeal, and that will give him his day in court. So, Commissioner, my opinion would be we voted, we move on, and he appeals, and he gets a second chance.
And Mr. Chairman, procedurally, that's where we are. We did take a vote. The vote was unanimous. To overturn that vote, someone who voted on the prevailing side, which would be anyone, would need to ask that the vote be reconsidered. So at this point, if someone wants to make a motion to reconsider the vote, we will take a vote on that. Otherwise, we'll move forward, and the gentleman will be allowed to appeal this decision into a formal hearing. Hearing no motion to reconsider the vote, the unanimous vote stands as it is. And William, you can talk to the gentleman about how he appeals the decision.
We'll take care of that.
Mr. Chairman, is there anything else that came before the dealer practices?
No, Commissioner, we did not discuss any other issues, and we adjourned with our next meeting on July 13th.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we go to licensing, I neglected to bring up the minutes from the March 9th meeting. Without objection, the minutes stand approved. Okay, now we will go to the licensing committee, and I'm going to apologize. I was off the line for another conference call when that came up. Who chaired the licensing committee for us this morning?
Mr. Slaughter did.
We met, and we had a quorum. And the first one we met with Mr. Sparrow, who was actually present, about tab 11. Ms. Childers, you want to review that one, please?
Yes. Drew Sparrow, salesperson applicant. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Drew Sparrow for alleged violation of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 13. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes the following action shall be taken against Drew Sparrow. 1, allowed to apply for a salesperson's license. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Drew Sparrow is hereby allowed to apply for a salesperson license.
Mr. Sparrow.
Mr. Chairman, that is your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Senior Scap, a second.
Thank you, Senior. You're helping us along through this board meeting. I appreciate that.
I don't hear about anybody else. Maybe some. I'm trying to not keep everybody holding.
Was Mrs. Sparrow on the line earlier?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Sparrow, anything that you would like to add? Okay, so you've got the motion that's been made and properly seconded. Madam Chairman, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
John Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous.
Okay, the motion is carried unanimously. Next matter, tab 13.
Tab 12.
I'm sorry, tab 12.
Tab 12, Thaddeus Brown, salesperson applicant. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Thaddeus Brown for alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 13. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes the following action should be taken against Thaddeus Brown. 1, allowed to apply for a salesperson's license. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Thaddeus Brown is allowed to apply for a salesperson's license.
And was Mr. Brown on the call earlier?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, that is your motion? Chairman Slaughter, is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
And I'm sorry, who seconded that
Second,
for us?
Fisher.
Okay,
Rob
Mr.
Fisher.
Fisher second that. Is the gentleman on the line? Does he anything that he'd like to add?
I would just like to thank the dealer board today. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. You're certainly welcome. All in favor will vote aye, and opposed nay. Madam Chair, please call the Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
John Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
That was unanimous.
Okay, the matter has been approved. Final matter, Mr. Chairman, tab 13.
Okay, Gabby Toomer, salesperson rather. Whereas based on the evidence and a report of the informal fact-finding conference as prepared by a hearing officer, the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board assessed a $5,000 civil penalty against Gabby Toomer and revoked all licenses and certificates issued by the board. Whereas Mr. Toomer appealed the board's decision and requested a formal hearing that was conducted on February 26, 2020. And whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and the report of a formal hearing as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Gabby Toomer for alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1574 and 46.2-1575, numbers 4 and 8. Whereas based on due consideration, the board believes the following action shall be taken against Gabby Toomer. 1, assess a $5,000 civil penalty, and 2, revocation of all licenses and certificates issued to Mr. Toomer by the board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Gabby Toomer be assessed a $5,000 civil penalty and revocation of all certificates and licenses issued by the board.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that is your motion.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'd second that.
Okay, Mr. Fisher seconds that. Was Mr. Tuma on the phone earlier, William?
Yes.
Okay, if you're on the phone now, anything you'd like to state to the board?
Yes, hi, thank you. And yeah, I just need to find out if there's any way I can correct anything of what happened.
I'm sorry, sir, what was the question?
How can I correct the problems that happened back then?
Anyone want to respond to that?
Well, I think you've had several opportunities to correct it, but I think you haven't realized that being the dealer, you're responsible. And when you sign up to be a dealer, you're responsible for all the guidelines that should be there. And to your own admission, you've ignored those responsibilities repeatedly. So I think we're past that point where there's an opportunity to redeem it. I think you've proven that that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Questions of Mr. Tuma or comments, further comments?
No, thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer, Bob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
That was unanimous.
Okay, the motion carries. Chairman Slaughter, does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Next, we'll go to Advertising Committee, and who's?
I've got it, Commissioner.
Okay.
Commissioner, the Advertising Committee met earlier today. A quorum was present. The committee approved a summary from the last meeting, and we had one resolution for consideration, tab 14, Jason D. Adams, ABC Diesel.
Yes. ABC Diesel and Jason D. Adams. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning ABC Diesel and Jason Adams for alleged violation of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 7. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes the following action should be taken against ABC Diesel and Jason Adams. 1, assessed a civil penalty of $250. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Jason Adams hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $250.
And Mr. Chairman, was Mr. Adams, did he participate earlier today?
He was not at that time, but that is our resolution.
Okay, that is your resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and that was Mr. Fisher. Discussion? All in favor say aye, opposed nay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Adams is present now.
Mr. Adams, are you present?
Yes, sir. I sure am.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, yeah, and actually, thank you so much for the opportunity to come together with you all this morning and share my testimony. When I had advertised this vehicle on the internet, specifically Craigslist at the time, that vehicle was titled and registered and insured to me personally as an individual. And I provided that documentation, that evidence to the board at the informal fact-finding conference. And I also showed where the intellectual property of the logo ABC Diesels was owned by me personally as well. So I obviously disputed the allegations that were brought forth against me, and I'm seeking grace by means of full dismissal of those allegations and penalties.
Okay, questions of Mr. Adams?
No.
Okay, Mr. Adams, anything else you'd like to add?
The Lord hasn't told me to add anything else at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Comments, questions?
Commissioner, I just wanted to comment, and you can read it in the narrative, that the issue is not whether or not the vehicles were personally registered to him or titled to him. The issue is you used a company logo, and that was reinforced in the hearing as well. So that's why I had no further comment.
Okay. You have a motion before you. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
Michael Bohr,
Aye.
Gardner Britt,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Nay.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Matt McQueen,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
John Sullivan,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Commissioner, we had no other resolutions for consideration. We
The
discussed.
motion carries. Mr. Chairman, is that the?
Yes, Commissioner, we had no other resolutions. We discussed no other issues, and our advertising committee will meet again on July 15th.
13th.
13th.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Transaction recovery.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we met this morning. We had a quorum. There was no public comment. There was no disagreement to the approval of the March 9th, 2020 meeting summary. There was no old business. There was no new business. And our next transaction recovery fund committee meeting will be July 13th, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there any old business from the floor? Okay, new business. We've got the July meeting scheduled for the 13th, William?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay, is there other new business from the floor? Okay, William, Executive Director report.
Thank you, sir. And thank all those who participated in the meeting today. As I said earlier, this is a first for us. And considering all the learning curves and the fact that some of you have done this for the first time, I think overall we did a pretty good job. And hopefully in the future, we'll get better as we go along with this. Each year, I'm required by statute to provide each board member with a copy of Code Section 4-3.01, requirements which prohibits agencies from obligating or expending funds amounts in excess of appropriations or expending funds at a rate that would result in expenditures in excess of revenues collected. Each of you board members should have received in your mail last Friday from Alice Weeding this particular item that I'm speaking of. So you received it last week. And I also must provide a copy of this document to any new board members that are appointed in the future going forward. So at the conclusion of this meeting, I am going to send a copy signed to the appropriate agency showing that I did brief this at the meeting today and that you as board members do have a copy of this document. Now, at the conclusion of the last board meeting in March, Chairman Holcomb cautiously mentioned that our next board meeting may not be in person, depending on how the virus and how quickly it was spreading. So as you can see, he was a fortune teller at the time. Here we are more than 90 days later and just completing our first virtual meeting. This pandemic has caused us, just as it has each of you, to, to do business, to look at how we do business and what can we do going forward to mitigate this sort of action in the future. Some of the actions we put in place to help the dealer community are: we suspended random inspections immediately, which suspended 1533 violation. We stopped enforcing the 20-hour per week rule and suspended enforcing the 20-day vacation allowance as well. When approached, we work with dealers on payment plans by delaying their payment or taking partial payments, realizing that at the time, a lot of dealers were having difficulty making sales or not open to do sales. We worked with the associations regarding salespersons, license furloughs, and terminations. Right now, we are helping our sister agency, the Department of Motor Vehicles, by having our field reps proctor salesperson and dealer operator tests across the state. And to date, we're approaching 200, if we not have already exceeded 200 tests that we proctored. And we started this process about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Once the dealer community is able to get appointments with the DMV, we will cease proctoring these exams. And as the DMVs come on board, we are scaling back because they are able to get appointments at the local DMV offices. Our office is currently closed to walk-in customers, but we will not turn away anyone who comes to the door unless they're not properly attired. And by that, I mean wearing the mask as required by the governor's executive order. All of our business can be conducted through the mail, email, or via telephone. Right now, due to social distancing and other requirements, our efforts to slow down the spread of the virus, we only have 4 or 5 employees in the office on a daily basis for the most part. These are the individuals who cannot work from home because everything they need to do their jobs is located here in the office. Everyone else is working from home. Every employee has been issued at least 2 homemade masks, courtesy of Janet Garrett, one of our field reps, hand sanitizer, gloves, and antibacterial wipes. We've installed glass across our customer service counter to create a barrier between staff and customers. To say it has been challenging is an understatement. But through all of this, I see many opportunities to improve our business processes, use technology, and redo our job position descriptions, which will, of course, give us more accountability and flexibility. In our July meeting, I hope to provide you with more details about business process improvements, especially on the side dealing with the field reps, and discuss the dealer portal, a discussion that we started in November of 2019, which I believe is key during a pandemic, inclement weather, or natural disaster. Looking at this thing in the future, my vision for the agency is pretty simple. We need to have the ability to work remotely and hopefully going forward on a normal day. What we saw in the past where everybody came to work on a daily basis, we've been in a position to where we will at least work remotely, everyone at least 2 or 3 days a week, depending on what needs to be done. So, Mr. Chairman, in my report, I gave a quick view of some of the things that we're dealing with, and I know the dealerships out there, the owners, the customers, and your agency as well have had a lot to deal with during this pandemic period. But in the July meeting, hopefully we'll have some information together that we can sit down and discuss a plan action to assist us at the dealer board to be able to better serve our community in the event that this pandemic is in a continuous stage, or in case something else comes up in the future, that we'll be able to get things done while working remotely or whatever it takes to get the job done. we've met the challenge thus far, and I'm very proud of the staff. They put in a lot of time and effort. They've done a great job of being flexible. It's been very tough on several of us, but at the same time, though, being the true professionals that we are, we've come to work, we've come together, we've gotten the job done, and found ways to get things done. And that's how we will get things going forward. So we're here for the community. We will be here for the community, and we will work with the community. And as long as that we're talking and working on things, I think we'll be fine. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, thank you, William. And certainly it has been a challenge for all of us, and I'm proud of the job that you and your staff have done. As William said, we are reopening our offices. We have a little bit more of a challenge because we are also retrofitting offices with plexiglass windows between the customers and the employees. We are following the governor's direction on social distancing. And so if you made it into a DMV, they look very different now than they did before on the number of customers we're letting in. Everything is by appointment. William, I would encourage you to continue to offer proctored tests while certainly we are open in those 31 offices for salesman and dealer license and test. We certainly would hope that maybe you could carry some of that load so that our appointments can go for other DMV transactions. But a good job, and look forward to the discussion. Obviously, William, a number of months back, talked about investing in redoing the computer system, or redoing at least the online presence so the dealers could do more online instead of having to physically come in. And I look forward to having that discussion again, because I think the dealer community would want the board to move in that direction. So is there any other items that anyone wants to bring up? I as well would like to commend everyone. This was certainly challenging, but this is the new norm. I will be honest with you that when we do come back to doing a live meeting at the DMV, it's probably not going to be in 702. We're probably going to have to take one of the training rooms, if not cording off part of the cafeteria, because we certainly cannot maintain any type of social distancing in 702 with a board as large as this board is. So just be flexible, or be willing to accept change when we first come to our next in-person meeting. But without objection, we stand adjourned. And again, I thank everyone for participating today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.